Welcome to the Growth Ventures Podcast, the go-to platform for entrepreneurs, innovators, and changemakers. I'm your host, Hamlet Azari. In this podcast, we delve into the world of business, technology, and innovation. We bring you conversations with industry leaders, disruptors, and visionaries who are shaping the future and making a difference. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply a curious listener, join us on the journey of learning and growth. Welcome to the Growth Ventures Podcast. And now, let's delve into today's episode. Welcome back to the Growth Ventures Podcast. Today, we're honored to have Armen Kocharyan, the Managing Director and Co-founder of VOLO LLC, one of the world's leading software outsourcing companies. In this episode, we'll explore Armen's journey in the software industry and his creative approach to software development. We'll also discuss the secrets behind VOLO's success in the creation of Razor, a groundbreaking HR management solution. Join us to share his story and vision. Armen, thank you for joining us today. It's really an honor and pleasure to have you on board. Really excited to hear about your story and the personal growth that you've gone through and the amazing organization that you've built.
Thank you for inviting, Combat. Thank you very much.
Of course. So, Armen, before we get started, tell the listening audience. So, we have VCs, we have founders listening in. Can you give us a little quick brief on what VOLO does and what the company is all about? And so they could get a sense of what you've built with the organization. I think you have, 7 offices, 300 employees. Is that correct?
Yes, that's true. So in that context for the audience of the VCs and founders, basically we're in a service business. We're an outsourcing company. It's our main business. And basically what we do, we help the companies with a big tech vision to achieve to solve their technical challenges, to help them in the growth. And the big background that we have gathered during the decades, I can say already we're over 18 years in the market. So it helps us a lot to accelerate those companies in solving the problems which may take them longer to do.
Amazing. So you partner very closely with the organization. You're creating dedicated teams, is that right? And they only work on specific accounts. Is that a good way of thinking about it?
In our business, the most important thing, because besides the technical depth that we're very good, is we value very much a communication, continuous communication, thorough communication, where we ask a lot of questions, we understand the problems, and we're able to deliver the best results for any business. So I can see that's the most important thing we do.
So it's almost like you're part of their team, right? That's how intertwined you guys are with them, or?
We're super committed to their success. We're super committed. Every team we're building with every partner, I can say that if you'll allow me, I'll go to the very beginning of the VOLO case.
I would love that. Yeah. So tell us, this is now 18 years ago, right? 18 years ago in VOLO.
Yeah, it's 18 years ago. And when we have started the VOLO, before we have started the VOLO, we were in the product business. We were creating the first payment system in Armenia, iDrum, which is still in the market and working. And I'll not go to that all exciting period of iDrum, the challenges that we're in and the problems we're solving. It was very exciting. But I'll go into the part of VOLO, how it was formed. When we went out of business of iDrum, that was a period we're heavily involved in regulation, paperwork, etc. And we're seeing how technology is growing, how fast.
So for the listeners, iDrum is was it a fintech related app, or what was it?
It's a payment platform. It's the first payment platform. It was like kind of a PayPal, continuation of PayPal in Armenia.
I love that.
PayPal 1998, and we have 2002 we started. It was one of the first in the region. And when we started the process of VOLO, we're very eager to get into the servicing companies around the globe with the best technology. And Armenians are very strong in solving the heavy problems. So we try to get all the knowledge that we have and try to build a team so that we can kind of flawlessly serve to the people who want to create the change. And our experience with iDrum bring us an understanding what the product is and what the market is. and how tough it is to do the business side and technical side. And because we're more coming from tech background, we're seeing that we can play a very strong game there. And we decided that we'll create a service company. We'll work with the challengers of any times from 2006 up to now and try to help them in their technological processes so that they'll achieve most out of their market.
Amazing. Where are most of your clients based out of? Are they all over the world, or are they?
54% to be more precise are in United States.
Okay. I love you clearly have a Mac background. He's like 54.2% are from the United States.
We know the statistics. A bit over 40% are in Europe. We're also in the UK and small things here and there, but this is kind of a main market for our business. So we're working, the big part of the business is in the United States.
Okay. And how has the team adjusted? Because I know there might be some concerns, with Armenia being in Eastern Europe and a time zone, like right now, I think we're 11 hours apart, right? I'm in Los Angeles, you're in Yerevan.
That's right.
And so how does the team overlap with US hours, or how do you guys manage that to ensure that there's smooth operations happening?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So with the western part of the United States, it's a bit harder to do an overlap, but we're trying to work in shift hours so that we'll have few hours. With the eastern part of United States, it's much easier. It's usually 8-hour difference. And when we're starting the day, usually at 10 a.m., 11 a.m. on our side, we're working a bit late. Usually we're having 3-4 hours of overlap, which is a huge time. I mean, we're not working with each other 3-4 hours in meetings, even when sitting in the same office. So truly, like mid to East Coast is a perfect match. So it's more than we need. And with the West Coast, we're trying to make shifts of 1-2 hours or at the evening, even at the morning, depending on whose side works better. We're trying to create a good overlap, but it works. It works. It is like how more you are focusing on the communication and being sure that teams are aligned to what should be done. And when this alignment is happening, then the technical works go. And nowadays, truly said, the technology, the tools for collaboration, being it Zooms, Teams, project management tools, file sharing, they are so advanced, and they've advanced even more after the COVID period. So this is very easy. This became very easy.
So what was some of the challenges? We like to dig into your own personal journey a little bit. How old were you when VOLO? How old were you at that time? 28 or younger?
Oh, when we have started VOLO, that was 28. Exactly.
Wow. So my math is good. I remember.
Yours.
So at 28, I mean, like I'm sure you compare yourself when you were 28 to what you are today, 40 something year old. I'm not gonna name it, but the mid 40-ish, right? So obviously you've grown as a leader, you've grown as a person as well. And if you could go back to your young 28-year-old self, what is some advice and guidance you would give it?
If I'll reflect on the change, the beginning of journey is more tech-driven, being hands-on on every project and doing a development, and that's how you are starting this. You are starting a tech company at that time. I can say that during that period, specifically in Armenia, there was a not really good understanding of what good manager is, the good leader is. It was mostly the
This is right after, so some people might not know the Armenian history. At this point, the revolution had already occurred, or how many years out are we, or what, or the breakout out of the Soviet Union? Where are we in the timeline there?
That was already it was after the breakout. It was at the beginning of 90s where the breakout happened and independence came. That was very hard period where not talking like business enablement during that period, because it was kind of the whole country was shaking from the war, from the earthquake. It was hard period. That was, by the way, the years when I was preparing also for the university. There was no light. You were making your studies under the candle. And, it's I'm coming from the engineering family. So my father was in the radio physics engineering. My mother is in engineering. So logically, I went to the natural sciences, specifically the applied mathematics. And that's how you're going the path of working and learning at the same time, because that was a hard time where economically also was shaking Armenia. There was no economy. So everyone was trying to work and learn. So the 90s was quite heavy first stage of formation of the country. And after the war, there was enthusiasm. So we started to formate the country. The decade of 2000 to 2010, this was more the formation period where we have started to see the companies happening, more regulation coming, and you have the entrepreneurs start to be visible. And
Were there a
that's
lot of
where
outsourcing companies, or they were just starting to get formulated? Because
we
Armenia
were
has
just
quite a bit
starting
of
in that
incredible
period.
outsourcing companies, you being one of them, and there's others out there as well too, right? So was this like the
That's true.
early
We
days
were
of
one
most?
of the beginners, let's say.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That was very beginning, and I can say that in terms of transition from that period to this period, I think that what I see that during last 18 years, there is a lot of better structured companies in terms of management. People now understand better the leadership. They understand the scale of the markets, how to do the business. I mean, a lot of things have changed, and I mean, it would be good if we would have 18 years ago much understanding about how markets are working and how companies are working and how to do all that things much effectively. But
Yeah.
we're growing. We're growing while doing, and we're learning while we're working with those companies. And I can say that many MNCs, multinational corporations, also came to the country, which also brought some culture and education of understanding how the industry is working. And we're all growing very slowly in that
Was the
direction.
talent pool there already though? Like, obviously one of Armenian strengths right now is engineers and development. Was it as strong as it is today, or did it need some work back then? Where were we in
I
that
think
stage?
I think the beauty of Armenia is because I mean it's a beauty, or I think it's a beauty that because we don't have many natural resources, gas or whatever, we rely very heavily on our brains, and that forces us to have this hunger of always gathering more information, more knowledge, and trying to
The growth
find a
mindset, right? The
breakthrough in
curiosity,
the
wanting to
reality.
learn. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And this is pushing the nation forward every day. And I can say that, of course, at the beginning, at that period, 90s, 2000s, it was less, but there was a hunger to do that. And at some point, this became kind of a best way of making money and best way to realize your future dreams. And more people started to go into the tech industry. And I think now, of course, Armenia is in a much, much favorable place in terms of the people resources available.
Amazing. I know in one of
Yeah.
your past interviews, you said that Volvo has a mission to become synonymous with quality software development. Can you elaborate a
Mhm.
little bit on the mission of Volo? Can you talk a little bit about that? Is it something from day one you
Yeah.
had this mission, and what does that mean to you? Like, can you
You
explain that?
know, we Sure. So we had always a vision to be a strategic tech partner driving growth and excellence. And we're in that vision by teaming up with these problem solvers in creating the digital future. And we knew that you can create this strategic partnership only by being strategically aligned with the needs of the business, right? And we were in the mission, and that also very well connects to our 7 offices we start in Ukraine, and also the global structure that we're trying to build, and it's called VOLO Global. And because our mission is to create global structure and partnerships and continuous learning environment where teams can join forces to handle these tech challenges, right? So we were always focused on trying to bring our best ideas so that teams in a very collaborative environment can solve that problem. So we're in that mission from day one, and with every new client that we're onboarding, we're very committed to having this kind of a family culture built around the problem so that we're all together around that, and we're keeping the open and clear communication to understand the goals and really fight for the best outcome together.
Amazing. So I know growing from where you were to the organization that now has 7 locations and 300 employees. I personally been to one of your offices, and it's gorgeous. You know, the way you have it structured and set up. But how did you go about maintaining that culture of that service communication when you were small? What are some tips you can give leaders that are going through the scaling period, right? So as they're growing their organization from, let's say, 0 to 50, 50 to 100, 100 to 200, 200 to 300, did things change along the way? And what are some advice you can provide?
I think that every company is created around the core values that you are seeding from day one. And those values are organic values, which is what makes the backbone of the company, and everything is grown on that. I can say that from day one, we were very focused on trust and care, so that we knew that in the service environment, if there is no trust, there is always some thinking which never gets you to the right place. So we're always building everything around trust and care. From day one, I remember when I was developing on the first project to the years, like over 10 years, I was still developing. The empowerment was a big value that we are still nurturing it, where every leader is empowering the person near him to become next leader. So we're always trying to create a supportive environment where everyone can work together, and this togetherness, creating together, is another value where there is no I in the team. We're trying always to go out of this egocentric thinking, and usually people with the big egos are having hard time in our company, and they are naturally getting out from that environment, because culture is something which really drives the type of people to your company, and we're really in that. And we, as I told several times already, the problem solving around aligning on the objective and trying to solve the problem was kind of core values of that. As we grew during the time, we realized that we need
You
to
said a couple of
adopt.
things here that I love that I want to just
Yeah,
rephrase to make sure I understood it correctly for my own personal development too, right?
please.
So the core values that the small initial team, including yourself and your co-founder and the initial hires, that has been remained throughout the journey, right? So all the things you were talking about, no
That's right.
ego, we work as a team, there, we give incredible customer service. We want to help develop the people underneath us to be able to replace what we're doing, and whoever they hire, they should be able to develop them to be able to
Exactly.
replace what they're doing, which are incredible things. And then you went into an element which I thought was really interesting, because this is where a lot of people struggle, and I want to talk about it a little bit, right? There's a
Yep.
tendency when you're scaling, and I've seen this in startups a lot, is you might go from 1 to 20 employees, but within that 20, there might be 2 or 3 that are not really the values of the culture, but you need them right now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes
Mm-hmm.
people tend to keep them a little longer than they should. Did you guys come across some of those issues where you're like, maybe they don't fit perfectly, but you said something which was interesting, is they left on their own, but were there times where they needed a little nudge that, hey, this is not maybe the right place for you? And how do you go about giving advice to founders who are facing some of those challenges?
My advice would be always stick to your core values. Never change them. Always go with them. And of course, there may be a situation where you will have people like that. I mean, and any person knows if they are in the right place or not. And if they are there, they feel they are not right place, but they are doing something valuable for some other means which interests them, for example, money. It's still okay. Everyone understands who is who. It's just you need to create really this environment of authenticity and being very, very, very clear in who you are. And by the way, in VOLO, we have done an exercise that was a wonderful thing, which was organized by our HR department. Besides having the values, we clearly define what it means for us and what it doesn't mean for us. And we started to clearly communicate to every team member that this is our core and this is what it means to us and what doesn't mean to us. And you are in that way, you either encode a person in your culture and they realize and they become a part of you. And that's the best thing for the people who are valuable for the business. And if you are unable to do that, still you should keep your integrity. You should continue to do exactly what you are doing. And if they can't, they will go at some point. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I love that. So don't change who you are, or don't change what you're trying to build, but educate more around that. And eventually over time, either they will change or they will realize that this is not going to work out for me in the long run anyways, or this is
That's
not
right.
cool.
And we tried to make a change. I tried to have some changes in my culture, in my values. I thought that I was wrong. And when you are trying to go in that direction, you don't have anymore the thing that you were trying to create. You see that there is something different. It is not working different, and it's your choice. I mean, even you take it or take a stand. Take a stand who you are and be very clear. And it helps everyone.
I know we spent some time talking about VOLO as a whole. What are some important milestones? I mean, you guys have an incredible track record and years of success.
Yeah.
When you reflect back on it, are there particular moments and stories where, I love these stories where business never goes up to the right? It goes through a roller coaster. Sometimes it goes down and then it reflects and goes up. Do you remember some of those down periods? And maybe you can elaborate what are some of the lessons you learned during that period? And then more importantly, usually during that down period, it gets you to a point where all of a sudden the up just keeps on coming one after another. Is there some interesting moments or stories you'd like to share with the audience?
The up and downs, I will say that the company was always culturally, we're always prepared for any shock. For me, was always the most important thing that people who are joining forces together will be sure the next day will not be dark. So we're always trying to have some reserves and operate in a way so that even in a hard situation, we can keep our people, we can work with our clients, and we can deliver what we promise to do. And in that aspect, in a lot of downtimes that we had, and even now, it's in the technology sphere, even nowadays, last 2 years is quite hard. And taking also the Armenian reality of exchange rate, shifts, geopolitical war is happening around the globe, and generally uncertainty in the economy and investments. I mean, it's even hard periods right now, but you can keep going during that hard period because you have created a good culture where people are together and they have a resilience to overcome that problem. And I'm very proud of that. And that resilience is not only the people within the company, it's also the clients, because also with the clients with whom you have a good relations continuously, they also very well understand the situation and what's happening in the world. And when you are working together and you are very committed to mutual success, they are also part of your resilience. And that helps to overcome any downsides.
I love that.
Regarding the upsides, I mean, the upsides, we have seen a lot and we have seen a cycle. And I can say that every upside of the company was connected with the internal growth of the people within the company. And for example, the biggest upside, I remember that in 2015, when we were working over 8 years with the almost same people. No, we're having always all the same people, no rotation. Its retention was kind of 100%.
Which is
Someday the
incredible.
team,
That is like that's an incredible thing on
that's
its own.
incredible, yeah. And that I remember a day when we were doing a workshop, what is next for the company, and all people told me we need to grow, because everyone was kind of leading by themselves one initiative. And
Right.
the demand came from the team. We need to grow. And that's where we started to grow from 30 people to 150, and the next stage from 150 to 300. And I can proudly say that we're now in a stage where we have such a big amount of competencies that we have started a consultancy. So now we're going to the clients because we understand why the clients are failing, what are the problems, why things are not working. And because we have accumulated so much understanding and knowledge from the outsourcing failures. And by the way, I need to mention here that we have a zero fail rate in that aspect. So we delivered in every project that we have promised and we have committed.
Wow.
You just go from there, and now we're in this getting into the consultancy. We're trying to educate our customers what to do things correctly, how to do correctly, because we learned that their success is our success, and we need to commit to their success to grow
Right.
with them, and that's the upside part. And I think we're very well positioned there.
Some incredible lessons here for every founder, right? Like treat your customers to that level that they become your true partners, and even during the biggest challenges, they understand and they will support you throughout that. Treat your team equally to a level that they don't want to leave because they're happy with what they're building with you together, to the point where that they will tell you, hey, we need to push the growth now. And what those two magic
Yep.
elements are wonderful stories in your history and your journey. It must be a testament of your leadership style. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, how have you learned to become a leader over the years? Is it you read books, or do you just go with instinct, or do you sometimes reflect and say, "Man,
Very good question.
what I said here, I did a horrible job." There needs to be better. Like, how have you gone yourself and kind of developed your own management and leadership style?
I think that the first part was going organically. The first part, it's just the nature and your core values, which was driving overall team, and people were gathered around those things. But when you grow, of course, you can't go without changing your style, because being always hands-on in the business will never allow you to go to the scale over, let's say, 50 people, because from there on you are facing a problem that should I focus here, should I focus there, and that's where you understand that the delegation is the most important thing to do, and you need to get rid of some part of the work, and you need to take the responsibility of other parts, which was previously kind of messed in all the things that you were doing. So I remember that day when I uninstalled the development environment from my computer. It was
Oh
kind of
wow, that must have been really hard for
shocking.
for you.
That was shocking day for me. I remember it was very, very, very big change in my life. There were, yeah, and I can say that there is a lot of contribution from the client side as well. And I can say that it's not only we giving something to our clients who have kind of a situation, specifically in the leadership and breakthrough outcomes. We have a client, GAP International, which is helping a lot during last several years in coaching, mentoring, leading, specifically me and some people from our management team in how to do things, how to do the breakthrough outcomes, what is the leadership. And they are training, they are taking us step by step there. I can say that I have a good mentors in that aspect. We have clients helping us. Reading the books, of course, is something that, when you are hearing something important, hey, look at this book, immediately you are going to the Blinkist or Redway and immediately trying to
What's the summary?
listen
Let me see
20 minutes.
what's the big takeaway, right?
What's the summary? Right.
Soon you don't even need to do that. You just tell ChatGPT to write it. Tell me what I need to take away from it.
Nowadays, yes. But I was going with these Blinkist to reading the brief, and if I like it, I'm getting the book. And because in a book, it's a different thing because you're besides the narrative, you are getting more context stories and trying to reflect in that stories. And usually you are trying those techniques, and everything is helping. You just need to focus. You need to understand that you need to change. And when you are open to the change, believe me, you are getting a lot of nice people around you.
Amazing. So I want to step a little bit into the future now. You're a technologist.
Good.
Let's just go with, what do you see in the next coming 2 or 3 years? And I'm not even going to go 10 years into the future because I think that's crazy, because so much can happen in technology and that, right?
Yeah.
What are you most excited about, let's say, in different advancements? Because it feels like, and I'm equally, just like you, been in tech my whole life, my whole career. It feels like it's moving so much faster now, or maybe it's because we're older and it feels like it's moving faster. I don't know, but that's what it just generally feels like to me. What do you see the near future, and what are you most excited about in the advancements that has occurred?
Ahmed, I need to agree with you that the cycle of changes accelerated so much that doing a prediction over a year is already dangerous. Because, the plans that we're creating for last few years, in November 2022, when they have announced the AI and how fast it conquered everyone's desktops and they started to use, was enormous. And now we're
everyone's product
monitoring
roadmap changed, right? They're like, all right, we got to do AI now.
Look, we're right now monitoring those trends, and we're doing about 4 projects right now in the company, trying to understand the landscape of AI, building the layers, the AI architecture, etc. And more we're getting into the scale of that. We're understanding how fast it will change the technological landscape in the future. We're seeing the paradigms going to more natural communication with a computer, like the paradigm of mouse or of keyboard is going out. We're seeing a big paradigm around the contexts and how you are creating the context, training those contexts, and how you are relating with them. And we're seeing that these will create a crazy big opportunities for the future. So we're right now deeply in the whole business automation sphere. Besides that, we're trying to pragmatically bring this AI into this space. but we are seeing how fast it is going and how naturally it will become a de facto node for every person.
Does it make you
Other
want to reinstall your dev environment on your computer? You're like, man, I got to start playing with this thing, see
I
what I
think
can do.
I think, in that context, I think everyone will have something in the dev environment in few years, because I think that is bringing the possibility for everyone to talk and create their fantasies around any ideas with the computer and create solutions and share those contexts with others. I think what it will make, it will allow everyone to create with the freedom, because
Wow.
before you were forced to hire the very expensive development resources to try to build something around your dream. But now I think that this will change. The cycles will be even faster. The solutions will come even faster.
So let's stick on that, because that's an interesting point that you're bringing up, right? You guys are a dev shop and an outsourcing organization, and so how are you not only but developing for your clients per se, but also internally indoctrinating the utilization of AI and becoming much more efficient and effective within the organization? I'm guessing every role within the organization kind of understands it now, uses it. Have you seen different processes and workflows change in the last year or two?
Yeah. So let me bring our example. It will be at the beginning of the year. We are using the OKR framework for objectives and key results, try to go with the 3 spiral cycles within the company to be able to understand and manage the change, understand the future and manage this change. And one of the first cycles of the year was every department was asked to go and do research, not only the developers, because on development side, that's completely different. We're using those co-pilots, trying to bring more efficiency. But we also asked the sales, the marketing, the HR, recruitment, learning, finance, everyone to go and understand what are the possibilities that AI can bring to their departments. And we're continuously keeping this process going within the company for every next cycle to go even deeper and deeper and to understand the tools, new possibilities, efficiency metrics. I mean, it's so interesting, and you need to keep your eye on that, because with every cycle, we're finding more and more solutions which can drive the dramatic performance.
Right.
And I can say that not everyone are rolled out to production, but just looking at them and piloting them is already a learning objective, which is creating for you the plan for the next months, etc. And I think that it's coming across all the departments.
That's amazing. Anything you've been blown away by? You're like, wow, this seems really, really cool.
I mean, the biggest thing that we're blown is that nowadays we're just bringing a lot of context to the AI, being it about the company, being about the cases, policies, etc. And you are just giving a freedom to talk with that context as a business being a entity, just a person, and just ask anything
So
about
like
the business.
agentic AI, are you excited about agentic AI? Like for it to go do tasks for you, even getting to that level? Have you seen some of that?
Eventually it will get there. Eventually it will get there, but that's the biggest excitement when
Yeah.
we're learning more and more about this context and how it is being more and more enriched and how it can drive the efficiency of many people answering things that you just unload from that work. You are creating this context, and it is going amazingly good. It's so native. You are just giving these documents, you are giving these FAQs, you are giving this material, and it does wonderful work. And it's really very nice thing.
Phenomenal. And that brings up another conversation here, right? Like if you talked about the world 5 years ago, there was this huge fear of privacy and data and what do I share, what I don't share. I feel like that concern is there, but it's not as loud anymore because I think people are starting to realize the more you give, the better it becomes, right? Like the smarter it gets, if done correctly. Obviously, there's certain ways you have to do it that you limit its exposure and all of those different things. How are you guys? Are you guys helping clients with AI implementation today? Is there certain things that you've learned along the way that you would like to share that makes your development process unique that people should be aware about?
Okay, so in terms of the first part of the question, which relates to the security and privacy, I can say that a year ago it was more questionable thing. It was more unclear in 2023. In 24, these private contexts and private Azure environments on the AI, etc., is now reality. So I think that even these big companies who were driving these huge LLMs, etc., realize that they need to create this privacy, right? And nowadays, more and more they do that. You are creating your private context. All the information that you are sharing is within the private context, and it allows to create very nice solutions around that. And I think that answers a lot of it clears a lot of uncertainty. So that's a good part. And what relates to speaking with our clients, some clients are already piloting because they also everyone now in the trend. I mean, there is nothing new in the AI, right? I mean,
Right.
it is becoming kind of a
It's almost
commodity.
like, what do you mean you don't have a website? What do you mean you don't have
Yeah,
AI?
that's right. That's very right. So some are coming organically, and some who still have fears, don't know how to approach, etc. That's where we're trying to create a pilot projects on our side, the AI architectures on our side, to be able to answer those questions and help those customers to run through this AI transformation and predictions and everything. I mean, we're trying also create some test beds on our side to help them grow and run faster.
Man, well, Armen John, thank you so much. I mean, I know you and I have to be conservative of your time, and I know you and I can probably go on hours in chatting. If people wanted to get a hold of you or any at Volo and they wanted to work with you guys, what would be the best way for them to be able to contact you?
I mean, I will be glad to get them through you. Probably a lot of people following you, they know you and they trust you. And I always love to keep those value chains. But you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm available. You can connect. I'm very responsive there. And it will be the easiest way to go. Our company website is volo.global. It's also a way to get in touch with us. The marketing team and the sales team will handle every request professionally. But still, going through Hamlet is the best option.
You heard that, so you need to go through me to get to Armen. Apparently, no, I'm kidding.
Yes.
Well, I'll put
I
the
I
I'll
love the
put
value chain.
the value chain. I will make sure I add that in the show notes and particularly your LinkedIn profile so they can definitely contact you. But Armen, thank you so much for being on. It was really a
Thank you very
pleasure
much,
to
Sam.
hearing your full journey, hearing how you started Volo from the early days and kept their core values in place and continue to grow it to the incredible organization it is now with 7 offices and 300 plus employees worldwide, and how you as a person have grown as a leader and well, like most of us in our early days organically and then more through coaching and mentorship and being able to keep the culture in place to what it is today. And I love the fact how you're thinking about the future as well. So there was a lot of wonderful things brought up in today's conversation. So for all of those listening in, thanks for listening in. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast channel. Until next time, keep on growing, keep on looking at how you can scale your businesses. Thank you so much.